Africa, a continent often associated with its vast landscapes, diverse cultures, and incredible wildlife, is undergoing a transformation that could soon redefine the global economy. It's a region full of untapped potential, with economies that are starting to show impressive growth. Today, we're looking at why Africa might be on the path to becoming one of the world's next economic powerhouses. First, let's talk about population. Africa has one of the world's youngest and fastest-growing populations. Currently, more than 1.4 billion people live in Africa, and that number is expected to double by 2050. To put that into perspective, Africa will have one of the world's largest working-age populations by mid-century, while much of the developed world is dealing with an aging workforce and population decline. In places like Europe, Japan, and even China, the population is aging rapidly. This creates a strain on economies because fewer workers are supporting more retirees. But in Africa, it's the opposite story. A young, energetic workforce that's growing. Economists call this a demographic dividend, meaning that when a country has more working-age people than dependents, it's usually a big boost for economic growth. As young Africans enter the workforce, they bring with them new ideas, energy, and demand for goods and services, creating a thriving internal market. Imagine a continent where millions of young people are buying their first phones, homes, or cars. The growth potential here is enormous. Africa is also one of the richest continents in terms of natural resources. It has large reserves of oil, gas, minerals, and metals. Countries like Nigeria and Angola are well known for their oil reserves, and nations like the Democratic Republic of Congo produce cobalt and lithium, key resources for the tech and electric vehicle industries. With the global push toward renewable energy, these minerals are becoming incredibly valuable. The shift to electric vehicles and renewable energy sources like solar and wind power is creating huge demand for materials that Africa has in abundance. Countries like Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo are some of the largest producers of copper and cobalt, both essential for manufacturing electric car batteries and other green technology. Africa's natural resources are now at the center of a global economic shift. Companies and countries are looking to Africa for these materials, creating a unique opportunity for the continent to grow its economies, develop infrastructure, and lift millions out of poverty. African cities are growing at an extraordinary rate. Right now, cities like Lagos in Nigeria, Nairobi in Kenya, and Johannesburg in South Africa are rapidly expanding. This urbanization is expected to continue as millions of people move from rural areas to cities for better job opportunities and living standards. But urbanization isn't just about population. It brings a shift in the economic structure as well. More people in cities means a greater demand for housing, transportation, education, and healthcare. This has led to massive investments in infrastructure projects across the continent, from high-speed railways to modern housing developments and even smart cities. For example, the city of Atlantic in Nigeria is a massive project that aims to create a futuristic, world-class financial district on land reclaimed from the Atlantic Ocean. Kenya is also building Konza Technopolis, a smart city meant to drive tech innovation and attract global businesses. This urban growth is creating more jobs and boosting local economies, helping these countries lay the groundwork for long-term economic success. One of the most exciting things happening in Africa right now is the tech revolution. Many countries, especially Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, have become hubs for technology and innovation. These countries are sometimes referred to as the Silicon Savannah, a nod to their ambitious tech sectors. Take mobile banking, for example. In many African countries, traditional banking is not always accessible, especially in rural areas. So African entrepreneurs came up with innovative mobile payment systems like M-Pesa in Kenya, which allows people to send and receive money using just their mobile phones. M-Pesa has been a game changer, giving millions of people access to financial services that were previously out of reach. In Nigeria, the tech scene is growing fast. The country has become a hotspot for startups, especially in fintech. Companies like Flutterwave and Paystack have attracted international attention, and investments are pouring in. The rise of e-commerce platforms, delivery services, and digital payment solutions is creating a tech ecosystem that could rival Silicon Valley in the coming decades. International investors have taken notice of Africa's potential. China has been particularly active on the continent, funding infrastructure projects and investing in various sectors. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China has poured billions into building roads, railways, ports, and power plants. These projects help improve Africa's infrastructure, making it easier for African businesses to expand and for foreign companies to operate. But it's not just China. Countries from all over the world, including the US, the UK, and the EU, are increasingly looking to invest in Africa. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, for example, is a US initiative aimed at increasing trade with African nations. The EU also has numerous trade agreements with African countries, and even companies like Google and Microsoft are setting up data centers and launching initiatives to support tech development in Africa. The African Continental Free Trade Area, or AfCFTA, is another major development. This agreement, launched in 2021, aims to create a single market across Africa, removing tariffs on goods traded within the continent. By 2030, AfCFTA could add up to $3 trillion to Africa's GDP. It's the largest free trade area in the world by the number of countries involved, and it has the potential to dramatically increase trade within Africa. Of course, Africa's journey to becoming an economic powerhouse isn't without challenges. Many African countries face issues like political instability, corruption, and underdeveloped infrastructure. While some countries are making progress on these fronts, these problems can still slow down development and make it harder for businesses to thrive. There's also the issue of education. To fully unlock the potential of its young population, Africa needs to invest in education and skills training. Without the necessary skills, the workforce won't be able to meet the demands of modern industries. Many African countries recognize this need, and there are initiatives aimed at improving education. But there's still a long way to go. Despite these challenges, many African countries are already seeing success. Rwanda, for example, has become a model for rapid economic growth and political stability. It's attracting foreign investment, and its capital, Kigali, is known as one of the cleanest and safest cities in Africa. Rwanda's government has made significant strides in healthcare, education, and tech, which has helped it become one of the fastest-growing economies on the continent. Ghana is another success story. It's seen steady economic growth thanks to investments in natural resources, agriculture, and services. Ghana has also become one of the best places to do business in Africa, with reforms aimed at reducing red tape and encouraging entrepreneurship. Ghana's growth in the tech sector has also helped it attract international investors and grow its economy. So where does this all lead? Africa has the potential to become a major player in the global economy. With a young population, abundant resources, a growing tech industry, and increasing foreign investment, the building blocks are there for Africa to rise as an economic powerhouse. However, the journey won't be easy, and there's still a lot of work to be done. African countries will need to continue addressing issues like education, governance, and infrastructure to ensure sustainable growth. But if they succeed, the next few decades could see Africa stepping into a new role on the world stage. A continent not only known for its natural beauty and cultural richness, but also as a driving force in the global economy. As we watch Africa's economic transformation, it's clear that the continent is on the move. The future is bright for African economies, and we're likely just seeing the beginning of what's to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Africa's economic rise, make sure to like and subscribe for more videos on the global economy. Let us know in the comments what you think. Will Africa be the world's next economic powerhouse?